As LeBron James approaches 40, yet again, he's looking for a new team, a new franchise, a new big market, and a revamped super team, whether that be in New York or Golden State. And with the outside chance, the slim chance, he remains in LA and gets a second star alongside Anthony Davis. Now, in light of all these rumors, LeBron James, again pursuing more teammate help, now a quote-unquote private NBA insider says LeBron doesn't care about passing Jordan or Kobe in championships. Now, let's be clear, this quote-unquote private insider definitely isn't a part of Clutch Sports with the initials RP. Definitely not. Now, look at this insider's comments. There's two ways you can take it, and I think they're equally as bad. First off, let's take this guy at his word and believe what he's saying. So LeBron James, at age 39, isn't pursuing championships, not trying to win more titles. What is he playing for? Could it be the outside chance LeBron James these past 2-3 years has only cared about stats and individual accolades? I mean, this quote, if you take it at its word, that's what it's saying. And watching LeBron's overall game, in terms of playing winning basketball on both ends of the floor, his defense is long gone. Instead of playing actual defense, giving a little bit of effort, he's more worried about scoring 25 points, getting his stats, assists, boards, and points. Lakers being the 9th seed, I mean, who really cares about that? LeBron got his 25, 7, and 7. He's good. The idea LeBron James is playing for stats and not championships, it really makes a lot of sense at this stage in his career. Now, taking the opposite angle, the opposite approach, let's say this insider isn't telling the truth. Shocker. Look at LeBron's actions. His recent antics, his tweets, his kind of passive aggressiveness. Is that the actions of a player who's not pursuing championships at age 39? If he was truly content with 4 championships, not pursuing Jordan or Kobe, why would you have all this smoke around him at the trade deadline? I mean, either one, LeBron James kind of is psycho, or two, he's still pursuing championships and trying to win in Los Angeles. And when it comes to being a Laker winning titles in LA, I think one of LeBron's obstacles is being in Kobe's shadow. And of course, Kobe, 5 championships in Los Angeles, built a dynasty. LeBron as a Laker can never eclipse that. Even if he gets 5 championships, 1 more Los Angeles, those 5 titles don't compare to Kobe's 5 rings. LeBron in LA is much like KD in Golden State. Yes, you appreciate what he did, got a championship, had some great seasons. But no matter what he did, that team and franchise was always Steph's. Curry and Kobe in that respect are very similar. Those guys were day ones on their teams, they cemented their legacies with that franchise as the face of that franchise and weren't glorified bounty hunters going team to team hunting for championships. Long story short, LeBron James, Rich Paul, the entirety of Clutch Sports, they see the end of the road quickly approaching. So what they're trying to do in a not so subtle way is get ahead of the narrative and hedge their bets. Trying to downplay championships, the pursuit of championships, despite at the very same time pursuing said championships very, very actively. That is kind of the double-edged sword of Clutch Sports. Don't believe what they're saying, look at their actions, because those two things aren't compatible. And trust me, just take my word at it. If LeBron had 6 championships, somehow even 7, these guys non-stop talk about championships, winning, and that being the standard for an all-time great player. But for LeBron James, only has 4, lost numerous times in the finals, so for them, winning can't matter, and that standard can't be upheld. And in regards to playing for stats versus championships, look, I think LeBron's mentality, it kind of fluctuates in this respect. As on some teams, if the writing's on the wall, they're not a very good team, he'll pack it in and go strictly for his numbers. But on some other teams, he'll play winning basketball, attempt to play defense if his supporting cast is adequate. In my opinion, that's bad leadership and being a bad teammate, as quitting on your team's good or bad is something a leader should never do. And LeBron Los Angeles has done it numerous times from 2019 to 2022. And getting back to the Kobe, LeBron, Jordan comparisons, the idea LeBron now all of a sudden is content with only 4 championships, not passing these guys. I don't believe that. As looking at LeBron's entire career, it's been motivated largely by getting 5 championships and possibly 6. I mean, back in 2010, the debate was Kobe versus LeBron, who's going to get their first ring as the guy for their team. When he left South Beach, what was that motivation? Getting Cleveland their first championship. I mean, LeBron's entire career pursuing help, teammates, super teams is built off the idea that winning championships does matter immensely. Now, unfortunately for him, despite great longevity, great total numbers, in terms of championships, he's underwhelmed slightly. And when it comes to this longevity stuff, in the moment, it is fantastic. But let's say LeBron James ends up playing 25 seasons and doesn't win another championship. That means when it's all said and done, he'll be 4 of 25, compared to Jordan, who was 6 for 15, and Kobe, who was 5 for 20. When people see this with a rational mind, you gotta think, how did the supposed GOAT play 25 years, a quarter of a century, and muster 4 championships in various spots with numerous Hall of Fame teammates? How is that possible? And here's one stat comparison that'll just blow your mind. When Michael Jordan won his 5th championship, at that point, he played a total of 1,006 games. Kobe, when he won his 5th, played a total of 1,199 games. LeBron, currently not having his 5th championship, has played 1,752 games. And staying with the Kobe, LeBron, Jordan comparisons, Rich Paul recently once again had a comment regarding all 3 of these guys. He said if Jordan, LeBron, and Kobe all went in a room together, they would all belong. And look, that's a fine point to make, a good point to show all these guys were legends in one respect or another. But in the same breath, guys like Kareem, Duncan, Bird, Hakeem, they also would belong in that same room at that same table. This analogy, to a certain degree, it does work. But when comparing careers, nitpicking things here and there, I think it's pretty obvious Jordan comes out on top of everyone in NBA history. And look, if it wasn't Rich Paul making these comments, I wouldn't even address this and give it any time of day. But the fact Rich Paul says this now, after numerous times calling LeBron James is the greatest, we know where he's coming from and his overall motivation for these comments. So for that reason, I'm going to take them fairly seriously. And for kind of a one-to-one comparison, looking at the same room analogy, for the 2010s era, I would say LeBron, KD, and Steph are the top 3 players from that era. And all those guys will be in the same quote-unquote room together. Now look, those guys being in the same room together doesn't mean KD and Steph are as good as LeBron James. In my view, they're not. So what am I saying? This whole they're in the same room together, the same table together, it's not really a great analogy for who's the best and the greatest. And per usual, it's a lot of vague word salad and clutch sports nonsense. And when it comes to Rich Paul specifically, if you listen to this guy on a podcast, an interview, it's a lot of rambling, incoherent sentences that go on and on and on. And the majority of times, it may seem or appear he's saying something profound, when in reality his comments have little or no substance. So all in all, looking at these comments, very, very convenient timing, because on one hand, Rich Paul is saying championships aren't driving LeBron James, but on the other hand, he's pulling numerous strings, trying to get help to Los Angeles, Trae Young, Mitchell, and maybe go to the Knicks, the Warriors. I mean, the double-edged sword of clutch sports is fascinating, as what they say most times doesn't match their actions. And let's say in this year's playoffs, LeBron and Lakers, they lose and they don't make it. Well, the built-in excuse is LeBron James isn't pursuing championships and winning isn't his MO. That right there is a deflection and a built-in narrative to get heat off LeBron James. But here's the thing. If LA wins, LeBron, of course, will get all the credit and all the acclaim. And him winning age 39, to those guys, will be proof he's the greatest in NBA history. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.